and welcome to the Soap Kitchen's demonstration on cold processed soap. When we start, we need to make sure that we have all the ingredients weighed out to start with, and we have all our equipment to hand. The equipment that you're going to need to make your cold processed soap is a large saucepan to make your soap in, a smaller saucepan to melt your coconut oil and your palm oil in, a heat-proof jug to make your lye in, a set of accurate kitchen scales to weigh your ingredients, a balloon whisk, a spatula, and a couple of measuring spoons for your essential oil and your grapefruit seed extract. I also like to have a bowl of cold water ready to put the lye solution in to cool it down. We also need a mould which has been lined with silicone paper to put the soap in, and a lid. And then when these are put together, we then wrap them up in old blankets or towels to keep it warm overnight. The ingredients we're using today are cold water with caustic soda to make our lye, olive oil, which is the pomace grade, coconut oil, palm oil, adding grapefruit seed extract, and a choice of essential oils. If you're using more than one, then a little pot to blend them in. Now we must make sure that we are safe, so I always wear a long pair of gloves to protect my hands and arms from any spillages. As you can see, I'm wearing glasses, but if you don't wear glasses, you can always wear goggles, and of course protect your clothes with a good apron. Start off by making the lye to go into the soap. So we've already weighed the water, which we have here, and into that we're going to put caustic soda, which is also sodium hydroxide. We pour the whole amount straight into the water. Now just be careful when you do this, because it's going to set off some fumes and it's going to get hot. So pouring it in, and then stir it until all the crystals have dissolved. Just going to stand back slightly. You might be able to see the fumes coming off as it heats up. Now it looks like it's all dissolved. So what I'm going to do is put it into a bowl of cold water to help it cool down, so to be ready for when I have the oils, and the temperatures of the two will be the same. So that can go to one side. And the next step is to do the oils. Now we start off by putting in the olive oil, and that's liquid already. So finding a saucepan that's large enough and pouring that in. Now the next two oils on the list are coconut and palm, and when you receive them, they will be in the solid state. Now we're lucky here that we have a melter, and which heats everything up, so our oils are liquid. But you will pop yours into a saucepan and melt it down ready. So the coconut oil going in, and the palm oil going in. Getting my whisk and just mixing the oils so they're mixed together. The next thing to add is the grapefruit seed extract. Now this is an antioxidant, and it's also quite good at getting the trace to come a little bit quicker than without it, which reduces the whisking time, which is always very good. Again, just making sure it's completely dispersed into the oils. Lovely. We now get the lye, which has cooled down in the water, and we're going to add this to our oils. Adding it all at once. And starting to whisk. Already the solution has started to go okay. And we continue whisking until we get to what's known as a light trace. I have been whisking for quite a while now. It takes time to make soap. It is worth it. We're continuing whisking until we get that light trace. And I do the test by just flicking some across the surface to see if there's a faint line on the surface of the soap. And I think we're there. Okay, so we're ready to add the essential oils. In this case, we're using frankincense and myrrh. We need to make sure that we have the trace before we put the essential oils in, because that means that the lye and the oils have all worked together to produce a soap before we actually scent it with our essential oils. So that's 40 mils of myrrh and 40 mils of frankincense, which I mixed before we added it to the soap mixture. We need to whisk in so it's evenly dispersed throughout, not leaving any areas that have not been fragranced. That looks good. So now we need to put it into the mould. Now if you want to see a video of how to make the liner for the mould, we have it on our YouTube channel. We also have it on our blog. I put clips on each side just to make sure that I don't drip any of the soap the wrong side of the liner. But it's up to you how you do it yourself. So removing the whisk, we just pour the soap straight into the mould. And then any bits that are left over stuck to the sides of the pan, we can just scrape out so we don't lose any. There. Lovely. So we're now going to cover it and insulate it, and that'll be left wrapped up for about 24 hours just to cook and set in its mould. We use just old blankets, anything that you have useful around the house to wrap it up with. Completely all tucked in, and that's ready to be left, and we'll have a look at it in about a day's time. Welcome back. We've just had a lovely sunny weekend where we've been enjoying ourselves, and the soap has been sitting here going through its gel phase. Now the gel phase is where the lye and the oils are working together to produce the soap, and if you put your hand in, you probably felt a little bit warm against the side, and this helps the gel to form from the centre out to the edges of the mould and right into the corners. So the exciting time is now to open it up and have a look. It feels nice and cold, so that's a good sign. Taking the lid off, and we have a lovely soap sitting there. So now we need to take the soap out and put it on to a base where we can then chop it up, okay, where we can remove the soap from the mould. And the best way with these big moulds is to tip it up onto the board and push out. And we can see the soap we've made. And it looks like it's worked very well. A lovely bar of soap. Now the next stage is to cut it up. This is a 5 kilo batch, and we generally get 55 bars from here, but it depends how you cut it. You can cut it with a knife, you can cut it with a cheese wire or a dedicated soap cutter, whichever way is easiest for you. We've now cut up the soap, and it's time for it to go onto a tray with absorbent paper, because it's still a little oily and we just need for it to dry out. So leaving a gap between the soap so the air can circulate. I also make sure that I leave a little note with it so I know the date of when it was made. And we're lucky here to have this lovely cabinet where it's dry and warm, where the soap can cure. So that just slides in with the other soaps. And that will stay in there for about 4 to 6 weeks until it's hardened. So we can take it out and wrap it ready to sell.